Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Tuesday, June 10th, 2025, and these are your unbiased updates. The National Guard on the streets of LA. Protests erupt again as California takes the Trump administration to court. And this morning, unrest is spreading from coast to coast. Plus, you're fired. Health Secretary RFK Jr. removes the CDC's entire vaccine panel. Why he did it and what it means for public health. And 3 children, a weekend visit, and they never came home. Now the manhunt this morning for their father in the Washington woods and why he's proving nearly impossible to catch. The stories that matter, clear and credible, from across the country to around the world. These are your unbiased updates from Straight Arrow News. This morning, military deployments are ramping up in Los Angeles as protest over the Trump administration's immigration policies spread nationwide. About 700 U.S. Marines are being deployed to L.A., joining nearly 1,700 National Guard troops already on the ground. And 2,000 additional Guard members are now being mobilized. It comes after a series of ICE raids Friday that led to dozens of arrests, sparking backlash and days of intensifying fiery protests. Things escalated when President Trump federalized California's National Guard, a move the state is now suing to block, accusing him of bypassing Governor Gavin Newsom's authority. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says Donald Trump is using her city as a political test case.
This should not be happening in our city. It is not warranted, and the only thing it does is contribute to chaos. This was chaos that was started at Washington, D.C. On Thursday, the city was peaceful. On Friday, it was not because of the intervention of the federal government. And it's, again, I don't think our city should be a test case, a laboratory. We didn't need the National Guard. Why on earth? What are they going to do? Do you know what the National Guard is doing now? They are guarding 2 buildings. They're guarding the federal building here in downtown, and they're guarding the federal building in Westwood. That's what they're doing. So they need Marines on top of it? I don't understand that. That's why I feel like we are part of an experiment that we did not ask to be a part of.
The operation has fueled protests far beyond California. Demonstrations are now underway in New York, Atlanta, Seattle, Dallas, and Louisville, with more expected throughout the week. On Monday, activists staged a protest outside the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City, calling for an immediate end to immigration raids and mass deportations. In another controversial move from the Trump administration, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has fired every member of a key federal vaccine panel. Kennedy announced Monday he's retiring all 17 members of the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, the group that reviews vaccine data and recommends who should get which shots and what insurance should cover. In a Wall Street Journal op-ed, Kennedy wrote, "Vaccines have become a divisive issue in American politics, but there is one thing all parties can agree on. The U.S. faces a crisis of public trust." He added, "A clean sweep is needed to reestablish public confidence in vaccine science." Kennedy has long been a high-profile vaccine skeptic. It is unclear who he plans to name as replacements. Turning to the war between Russia and Ukraine, Ukrainian officials say Russia launched hundreds of drones and missiles early this morning in an attack on 2 Ukrainian cities. This follows Russia's biggest attack yet of the war just 2 days ago. Ukrainian President Zelensky says this time Moscow fired more than 315 drones and 7 missiles overnight. Regional officials report damage to a maternity hospital and residential buildings in Odessa, where 2 people were killed and 9 injured. 4 more got hurt in the capital, Kyiv. The escalation comes just hours after Ukraine claimed it struck 2 fighter jets 400 miles inside Russian territory. It also comes as Zelensky confirmed a prisoner exchange with Russia has finally begun, the first swap since peace talks in Istanbul earlier this month. A massive manhunt intensifies this morning for a fugitive father accused of murdering his 3 daughters near a remote campground in the Pacific Northwest. Newly released photos show Travis Decker with distinct tattoos and a ponytail as federal agents take over the search across rugged terrain in central Washington state. Searchers found Decker's daughters, 9-year-old Peyton, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia, suffocated last week, with their bodies discovered just yards from Decker's abandoned truck. Investigators say plastic bags were found over their heads. Their wrists showed signs of being zip-tied. Decker, a military veteran with advanced survival training who is also homeless, is believed to be armed and capable of living off the grid for weeks. His ex-wife grew concerned when Decker did not return the girls or respond after a weekend visit. The nation's capital is on lockdown mode this week, gearing up for a massive military parade marking the Army's 250th birthday and, coincidentally, President Trump's 79th birthday. Security preparations are already underway. Crews are rolling out 18 miles of fencing, shutting down major roads, and deploying thousands of federal agents across Washington, D.C. Saturday's parade is expected to draw hundreds of thousands of people, featuring tanks, flyovers, and a sprawling security footprint. The event is designated a national special security event, triggering one of the largest multi-agency responses since Donald Trump's second inauguration. Multiple protests are planned, including a march to the White House organized by the No Kings movement. And officials say they're also monitoring potential spillover from the unrest in Los Angeles.
And as far as the First Amendment activity, from a Secret Service perspective, if it's simply people, using their First Amendment right to protest, we're not going to do anything with that. But if that turns violent or if any laws are broken, that's when MPD, Park Police, Secret Service will get involved, and that will be handled swiftly.
Later today, President Trump will speak at Fort Bragg in North Carolina in an event to celebrate the Army's birthday. Finally this morning, a farewell to one of the most influential voices of his era, dating back to the days of Woodstock. Sly Stone, the showman, the electrifying frontman of Sly and the Family Stone, has died. His sound helped define the late 60s and early 70s with genre-bending hits like Everyday People, Family Affair, and Dance to the Music. The band got its start in the Bay Area, mixing funk, rock, soul, jazz, and doo-wop into something bold, joyful, and unmistakably their own. They racked up 3 top 10 hits, sold millions of albums, and influenced a generation, including, get this, a young Jackson 5 who actually tried to emulate their style. Sly Stone, born Sylvester Stewart, was 82 years old. And I just happened to Google Everyday People this morning just to hear his voice. And now I've got that song in my head, the one that goes, I love everyday people. Don't worry, not going to sing it for you, but if you get a chance, Google it today as, well, somewhat of a tribute to Sly. Those are your unbiased updates for this Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.